guys? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for some more popcorn. Chaos! Well, the time is here for the next installment of
Year of the Max.
And this go round, we got the new launch of Mortal Kombat. You can see what theme I got going on right now. In fact, my favorite part about this movie was Kano in it. So I'm sure y'all remember back in '95 when Mortal Kombat came out, it was this video game that just blew up like crazy. It was the first violent video game that had ever existed on that level. Parents were flipping out about all the gore in there. So when the movie was coming out, everybody was pumped up. And then when it was PG-13, we were just like, are you kidding me? Well, I really enjoy watching that movie for what it is. I always wanted an R-rated version of it. Well, we finally got it. And from the looks of the trailer, I was really pumped up about it. Recently, they had aired the first 7 minutes on HBO Max, but I actually hadn't watched that because I was like, it's coming out in a few days, I'll just watch it. Well, man, that first 7 minutes really had me reeled in, including like the opening production logos you see in front of movies before the title hits. They did a cool like little freeze thing that was nice, you know, hinting at Sub-Zero. But first off, just like all the other Year of the Max reviews, no spoilers. I'm just gonna tell you my first thoughts. Man, that opening scene really had me reeled in. It was just like full of just like emotion. The gravity was there between what was going on and what was happening. I was thinking, oh dude, if the rest of the movie is like this is gonna be badass. I mean, it didn't feel like it was gonna be a cheesy video game movie like every video game movie we've gotten, but it sort of just slowly but surely couldn't help itself but just sort of become the 1995 film. Started out really solid and original and serious in tone, kind of like what Nolan did for The Dark Knight. He took that back to this serious world, this grounded reality, lots of gravitas, really made you care about the characters. This one felt like it was going for that, and then it just diminished like quickly. It's only 2 hours long. That's somewhere where I thought it failed right off. If they would have just made it 2.5 hours long, it would have been better. You would have gotten to know the characters better, thus caring about what happens to them. But man, it doesn't waste any time getting into the movie. It just starts. The opening scene starts, and then it just happens. Characters you're familiar with from the franchise just start coming in. And don't get me wrong, they make great use of the characters in this movie and all their catchphrases and their moves, which becomes a little fan servicey after a while. Don't get me wrong, it's cool to watch it. It's really cool to watch it, and you're just waiting for it, but it is sort of like that, all right, when are they gonna do it? When are they gonna do it? Ah, there it is. And that's kind of what the movie is. It's based on just giving you all those familiar moments from the game. The actors that play all the different characters, pretty good. They all fit the roles well, but just there's nothing real special about any of their performances. And man, Sonya Blade is hot. However, the one performance that really stood out for me and I thought was hilarious was Kano. Just everything he does in this movie is hilarious. To me, every time I saw him on screen, it was what it was supposed to be. It was the Kano I remember from the games, and it was the Kano I pictured in my head. But the little ways where they show like their powers and sort of how they get their powers, it's kind of weird. They kind of are jumping on that Avengers bandwagon in the sense that like they're a team in this rather than it be like a tournament type situation. I'm not going to say anymore because I don't want to ruin anything. But it's just a different route that they took rather than what you're used to seeing or what you're used to playing in the games. Now, everything in the storyline is leading up to just some other fight between 2 of the characters or 3 of the characters or whatever. And that's all cool. And there is fighting throughout. Don't get me wrong. The choreograph is cool. And one of the cool things I can appreciate about this film is they rely on the choreograph more instead of just a ton of CG in the fighting, in the moves like that. But as far as them doing their special moves and everything like that, of course there's CG involved. There has to be. Flaming dragons and ice blades. In all honesty, it kind of felt like a 90s movie. Felt like the pace of a 90s movie. It felt like the exposition of a 90s movie. All the chain of events kind of felt like a 90s movie. But there's some fun to be had with that. I was just expecting a little bit more of a newer, serious tone. Kind of like I said, what Christopher Nolan did to the Batman world. But the music's pretty good, especially in the beginning, and they incorporate the old Mortal Kombat theme throughout, but in a new way. That's all cool. The biggest thing that was weird about this to me is that they implement this new character, Colt, which I don't know if they needed to do that. I mean, his character does have a connection to the other characters you know of, but they really needed to lengthen it up a little bit. I mean, Warner Brothers is just bad about trying to shorten films or cram too much into one film. I mean, there's a lot of characters from all the games in this movie. I do like the way they portray the Outworld a little bit. That's kind of cool. The Shang Tsung wasn't really anything that memorable. I like the Shang Tsung in the '95 version way better. And all the CGI and effects and everything like that were good in some points, but then they were bad and kind of in some points. And you can tell a lot of the scenery was green screen. It didn't make it bad or unwatchable. It just, you could tell they had a little bit lower budget. They would have had more money and a little bit more of a length in the film, it would have been better all the way around. But at some moments, like you're watching the CGI and it's like, wow, that's badass. And then there's other moments it's like, this feels like a CW production. Oh yeah, and what I really liked about it was it was definitely R-rated. It was fully R-rated, no question. plenty of blood and guts, and cursing. So at least they hit the mark on that point. All in all, I give it a C+. I mean, it was enjoyable, but it's still, for a Mortal Kombat film, I don't feel like they got it fully right. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And unlike Godzilla vs. Kong, that was a movie that was going into it kind of like Aquaman. Like I said, it was already going to be over the top. This one, I wanted them to sort of find that happy medium to where I could kind of believe it, and you just don't. Oh, and one more thing. Just thought about this. Don't know if anybody else in the Mortal Kombat fans have thought about this. Why do they save the finishing moves to the end? Why don't they just start with that? It obviously just kills them. They're wasting so much time with fighting. You got the finishing move, just use it at the beginning. Anyways, that was just weird to me. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much. Still got the top 10 chick flicks that dudes will never admit they like coming up, so be on the lookout for it. And I got my new thing on Tuesdays coming up called Tuesdays with Jeremy, where I watch a movie my buddy Jeremy introduces, and I don't have any choice in the matter what it is. It's just a surprise every time. Well, look for BrassReel Brothers on Facebook. Look for Bobby Williams on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, BrassReel Bobby at BrassReel. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. Now, I gotta get back to playing Kano for the rest of the day. If life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorns.
Kano wins.